In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your alternator on your Mercedes-Benz C300. It's located on the front of the engine. The battery is underneath this cover. You're going to see your red slide here for when you need a jump start. But the battery is under here. So you're going to flip up these three. There's one here, and one here. These three hold downs. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver to do so. And once you get those unhooked, you're going to take this cover off. Set it aside. We're going to use a 10mm socket, and we're going to take off our negative battery terminal. For us, it's right here. Going to loosen up this nut. You're going to notice the terminal getting loose and take it off. We're going to remove this cover first. You're just going to pull up on it and set it aside. And now we're going to remove these two airflow tubes. Ours are not correct. Yours should just unhook from here. And right here is another tab where you'd push in and pull this off. Do that for the other side as well. Again, ours is broken. We're going to use a 17mm socket, and we're going to put it right here to take the tension off the belt. Get your socket on. Once you're on, you're going to push down. And we're going to slip the belt off. Release that. And take it right out. There are 4 bolts holding the alternator to the engine. There's one here, one in behind it, directly behind it, and then there's 2 on the bottom, the same way, one here and one directly behind it. The 4 bolts will take an E12 socket. It's an inverted socket, so you're going to need that to do this job as well. You can also get this one through the wheel well. Passenger side wheel well. I'm going to take this bolt right out. Now you can move this wire out of the way. And we're going to unclip this wiring harness off of the alternator. Right here, it's just got a little metal clip, and push that away. I'm going to take my ratchet out of there. See if I can get it by hand. There's not a whole lot of room. Remove the bolt. Using a T27 Torx bit socket, I'm going to remove this bolt so I can separate the harness from here. That'll give us more slack for the wiring. I'm going to take that off, and then I'll just let it move around to get this alternator out. Now we're going to reach underneath and get on that bolt, that last one in the back. Or the second to last one, should I say. I would definitely do this one before you do the one that you can get to in the front. You don't want the alternator falling down on you as you're trying to loosen this bolt out. All right, so I am using a 1/4 inch drive ratchet now. That seems to be working out much better. Just remove it before it's too late. You don't want to jam it up against the frame of the car. And get it out the rest of the way with your fingers. I'm going to leave that bolt just dangling, and now we're going to take out our last bolt. All right, so now I'm at this bolt in the front underneath, and let's crack that loose. I'm going to remove my ratchet. And to get this one out with your fingers, you're going to have to take the weight off the alternator. And there we go. I'm going to remove my tool. Now we're going to take that bolt out, let it hang. And we're going to pull our alternator forward. At this point, we're going to disconnect this connector in the back. So now we're going to take this off, slide a screwdriver underneath, and pop off this cap. And now we're going to unscrew that nut. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to loosen up this nut. And take it off the rest of the way. Remove it, the wire from the alternator. And set that aside. Now we're going to tilt the alternator up, and we're going to get this connector. Once you feel like it's coming loose, you can take it out. Now we're going to remove our alternator. There's that bolt that we left in there. You are going to have to finagle it past this fan. I'm going to remove this hose here just to get it by. I'm going to get it past that fan and take it out. I'm going to slide it through the same way we took it out. So you're going to stay on the passenger side to get it to fit. And then once you're past the fan, you're going to drop it through and make sure it's facing towards the wheel well. At first, find your connectors on the back of the alternator. When you drop your alternator in or spin it in, make sure that your bracket here has the V shape going towards the crank pulley, going towards inward towards the engine, and the flat side is out. It's pretty easy to put this in upside down otherwise. Don't want to do that. So now we're going to put our wire on, nut and cap. Let's start our nut. Finger tight first, tighten it up. After you tighten that down, you're going to torque it to 11 foot-pounds if you can get a torque wrench in there. If not, do the best you can. Now we're going to put our cap on. This is important. Make sure you don't forget to put this on. It'll keep your alternator from shorting out. Give it a little tap. Now we're going to connect our connector. Just right here. Just slide it on. Make sure you hear that click. And now we're going to turn our alternator in and get it lined up. So just turn it this way. Again, make a mental note that this bracket is facing this way and the flat side is out. Now we're going to pick up our alternator from underneath and get our 2 bolts in and the bottom. You're not going to be able to do this once it's in there correctly. They don't reach. The bolts are too long, so you want to get them in now in that bottom 2 holes. They're all the same length bolts. And then slide it back into place. Now we're going to pick up our alternator and try to get one of them started down there. Got one started, and now I'm going to do the one in the back corner. This is definitely go by feel more than anything else, so just take your time. Once we get these started, there is access through a wheel well to tighten them down if you want to change positions. Now for these top 2, you are going to slide it through this ground wire first. So put that through, and then push it through the wheel well to get it to go in the hole. And then the other one is through the back. Just get that wiring harness out of the way if you need to. Once you get the bolts through, you got to line up the holes and then get those started as well. It's good to get all 4 bolts started before tightening anything down. At this point, we're going to use a 10mm ratchet wrench and snug up these bolts a little bit more. You can also, for the bolts here, you can access them through this wheel well, if that's easier for you. I'm just going to do it with a wrench. I'm going to just tighten them a little bit at a time. Make sure you're going in evenly, because you want the thing flush against the engine. I'm going to go underneath for a little while and get those going. So just snug it up as best you can. And then we're going to torque it. We're probably not going to be able to get a torque wrench in here underneath, but the top ones you can get a feel for it and then use the same amount of strength to torque the bottom ones. The torque spec is 15 foot-pounds or 180 inch-pounds. If you can't get a torque wrench in there, which I can't, we're going to tighten these up and then go, if that's tight, we're going to go another almost a quarter of a turn. I'd say an eighth, more than a quarter. Now we're going to put our bracket back, slide it over and get that little notch there. Put it right between there and get your bolt started. Snug it up. And now we're going to slide our clip back onto the alternator to keep it stable for the harness. Just make sure you put this clip on the alternator to keep the harness stable. Let's put this tube back on. Goes here, arrow to arrow, and here. And now we can put our engine cover back on. Now we're going to put our belt in. So drop it in, and I'm going to start over by the power steering pump pulley over here. Just let it rest low. And we're going to put it up on the top. It goes right across on the top. Get it on that pulley. And now we're going to go low to that alternator down there. Now we're going to start going up into the water pump, below the idler. Over to that tensioner. Take it off the tensioner, put it around the crank. Now we're going to put our 17 millimeter onto this tensioner. And we're going to go down and slide it onto our tensioner. Before letting go, you're going to make sure the pulleys, you have the belt on the pulley correctly. Give it one final check before you release it completely. You don't want to ruin your belt by putting it on a little off. All right, we're good. Now we're going to install our airflow tubes. Notice where the curve is and line it up accordingly. And then push it onto here. Yours should line up, ours doesn't. Do the same on the other side. There should be 2 clips here. We only have 1. And there should be 2 grommets that fit into these 2 spaces. Line things up. You're going to see 2 slits here that fit into that groove. Like that. Should snap into place. Tighten it up. Make sure it's tight. Make sure it doesn't move. And now we're going to put our cover on. Make sure both of these are out and your spring is up. Your spring clip. Now you're going to put this over the battery. Just make sure everything's out of the way. Snap it on. And you're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.